Hey everyone, it's Miss Johnson. I just want to give you a quick video about the difference between absolute and relative references in Excel. First of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about what the difference between an absolute and a relative is, just in general. So I want you to take a moment and think about, where is the yellow circle? If I had to ask you, where's the yellow circle? Where would you tell me it is? Pause the video and think if you need a moment. Most people would say the yellow circle is in C2. C2 is what's called an absolute reference. No matter what's happening on with all those other circles, the yellow circle, at least for this picture, will always be in C2. If you tell someone to look in C2 for the yellow circle, they'll find it. But sometimes we like to tell where things are using something called relative position, which is talking about the relationship between things. So if you were looking for a relative position, you would say the yellow circle is 1 above the blue circle, which is true. It is. Or you could say the yellow circle is 2 rows to the left of the red circle, which is also true. Or the yellow circle is 1 row left, 1 row down from the green circle. So with Excel also does this too, right? Excel looks at things and says, okay, is this an absolute reference or is this a relative reference? Is this just telling me that something is 2 over from something, or is it telling me it's always in C2? If we told Excel the yellow circle is always in C2, then no matter what happens with all these other circles, it would stay the same. But most of the time, what we tell Excel is that the yellow circle is 2 over from the red circle. So if the red circle moved down 1, Excel would believe that the yellow circle has moved down 1. That's what's happening here. Pretend this is our yellow circle, and this is our red circle. Or pretend this is our yellow circle, and this is our red circle. It's always going to think, okay, the yellow circle right here is 1 row over and 1 row down from the red circle. So when the red circle changes position, it believes the yellow circle changes position, which is fine. Sometimes we want Excel to do that. We want things to change. But sometimes we want it to always be the same. We always want to tell it the yellow circle is in C2. So absolute references are when you never want things to change. It's always the same. No matter what happens with all these other circles, no matter where they go, you can always find the yellow circle in C2. If we want it in relationship to something else, we're going to use a relative reference. We'll tell Excel the yellow circle is always 2 over from the red circle. If you want an example about how that's shown, actually I'll just give you the example right now. With this formula, we're going to use a Countif formula. If you don't know what that is, you can go watch another video. We want to get the number of orders that were from Apple. So we want to look in this range, because this is all the places where the word Apple could appear. And our criteria is Apple. So right now what we're telling Excel is that, hey, when you're looking for this range, it's always going to be in the same row, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 columns over. That's where you're going to start, and then you're going to go however many numbers that is down. And you're always, for the criteria, you're always going to go 1 over. So if I copy this formula down, it's relative. So Excel is going to change the range, right? They're going to say, okay, when we were up here in row 4, it started in D4. It's always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 columns over. So I'm going to change it to D5 because it's 1, 2, 3, 4 columns over. But that's not what we want, right? Because this right now, our pomegranate, isn't counting all these other pomegranates, because we actually always want the range to stay the same. We want it to be an absolute reference. We don't want it to change when it's copied. So how you do that in Excel? Use your dollar signs. I'm telling Excel now, what I want is always going to be from D4 to D18. My circle is always going to be in those places. When I copy it down, my range always stays the same. So, recap. Absolute reference, C2, yellow circle's in C2. Relative reference, the yellow circle is 1, 2 columns to the left of the red circle. Hope this helped. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me.